All right, let's get into it. So, we're doing a weekly debrief here, and the goal is to talk about your wins. And then also, I have a punch list on health, wealth, and learning, where we just crush through the things you've been working on, how that's panned out, and then discuss how you can really go into the weekend strong and then what you can do to keep plugging away. So, for me to set the tone, top of mind on health on my side. So, I've really been trying to pull alcohol way back and not so everyone hates to talk about pulling alcohol way back because they think, oh, he must have a problem. But what I found here, let's talk real about this. What I found as a 42-year-old now is that the alcohol just trashes my next mornings. So what I've also found is that probably because of all my military experience, it became this go-to. It was both this go-to celebration and this go-to commiseration. So right now I'm running a lot in the fire. I have the revenue operations for a $100 million company that I'm managing. I've got the entrepreneurs group here in Covington, where we're going over the content media, the content stuff I've been learning here essentially in 4x4 recall. And then I've got 4x4 recall. So as you're like drinking through the fire hose, getting all these, going over all these learning curves, how do you sustainably post every day? How do you get high quality 4K content? How do you get a high quality podcast that's deserving of your listeners' time? Essentially, like you hit these milestones and you finally feel relaxed and just want to check out. You know, not to mention 2 kids in the house, wife, plenty to do. So I've found this pattern or this habit of wanting to celebrate big milestones. It's like, oh, let's go have some beers. Or then you find this pattern or milestone where it's like, oh, I didn't perform so well. Let's go do some beers. And the next day is gone. I don't wake up at 5:30 and go to the gym, or I feel groggy when I'm trying to get my daughter out of bed, or the 5-month-old now has to wake up in the middle of the night and my wife's like, hey Chad, can you go pick him up? And I just feel like garbage. So the challenge I have, and maybe so all the successful business guys can chime in on this too. The challenge I have is, as a business professional myself in a senior leadership position with a lot of revenue under management, you meet these other stakeholders and leaders, and this inclination is that you have to go out and share drinks with them, that you have to go out and have dinner with them, that you have to go out there and max out the expense account. So I want to say, man, it's just not serving me. I want to quit for good. But then I don't see a world where it's like where you're not having a drink with a business partner. So got the tonic water, light tonic water today. That's my go-to. So health-wise, really trimming down the alcohol. The gym routine's been working great for me. I'm in there. If I only hit one day, I'll do Monday, and I'll do the it's like a combo, um, clean, jerk, press, and then front squat. So if I only hit one day, I'll hit that Monday. That's a win for me. Then I'll do. I try to get an arm day in, and then the rest of the time I just spend time on the treadmill, either running or walking, because my daughter can go into daycare, or both kids even can go into daycare. So health feels good on that. Oh, the last thing on health, personally, and for all the guys here for the dating content, this doesn't actually matter. But personally, I'm like 25 pounds overweight right now. My last deployment with the Air Force, I came back and I came out of there out of Qatar, 165 pounds, looking shredded. I have a boxing coach down in New Orleans, and he's like, oh, wow, you look not just more slender, but bigger. And what was that, 4 years ago, I guess? And I gave it away quick, but then I maintained what was my normal, like walking around 185. Now I'm just blown up. So what's funny about those things is, like, when I tell business clients, you know what the answer is? You just got to do it. You got to execute on it. So that's health. All right, wealth. I tell you what, this year has been a hell of a year. The recruiting effort to get me into this $100 million company, the relocation expenses covered, the bonuses, buying the house, paying off both cars, cashing in the stock options from the last tech firm. What's interesting about wealth, for all you guys that are sub 100K now, or just now getting to 100K, as you unlock each new level, you find that you're really not making a lot. So I tell people candidly, I make about 200K a year when you count all the bonuses. It's not a lot. It's a lot more than I made in the military. It's a lot more than I made in my first 3 years out of the military, but it's not a lot. It feels dialed in for me. Part of the wealth play for me is the entrepreneurs group here on the North Shore. I kept looking for people to handle the marketing and the content media on 4x4 Recall because I'd rather be talking to the guys. I'd rather be talking to the clients. I just couldn't find anyone doing it good, so I started doing it. I mean, 4x4 Recall in and of itself, we're talking inside baseball now on the weekly debriefs. 4x4 Recall in and of itself will be a $2 million a year business. I've just seen this done too many times when someone applies themselves to a niche that they're passionate about and creates consistent high quality content. Within 2 years, they will have 100,000 followers. It's just, I know I'm not well, technically, I guess I'm wearing a digital marketer's hat right now, but I'm not selling you digital marketing services. Does that make sense? So, but I will tell you, I've seen it happen too many times. I've been in this game for too long. I was early tech support for Squarespace, if you guys remember, back in 2008. And I was heavily involved in the internet since 2005. The path is so clear. The problem is nobody ever follows through with it. And then my problem, again, speaking candidly in inside baseball, my problem is I never wanted to admit that I was in the dating niche. Like, I wanted to be business. I wanted to talk about what I was doing on the revenue side. But the reality is, the passion for me is leadership and attraction, and that falls into dating. So I do the dating. All right, so that's aligned on wealth. On the corporate side, people, there's a VP path to this. I just don't know if I've ever been interested in that. I remember a CRO for a tech firm I worked for when I first made director. He sat me down. He's like, Chad, the path to VP takes about 5 years, and really they just want to see that you stuck around for that long. Well, it wasn't inspiring to me. I was like, dang, that's it. That's how I felt 12 years after the military. People were like, oh, I'm going to retire at 20, then I'm going to go get a federal job and double retirement, baby. Dang, that's it? I just thought there was more to it. So I ended up, I left that first corporate gig. I was on top of my game. I had 23 people working for me, offices in Sydney, Australia, Tokyo, Japan, Dublin, Ireland, and Denver. I gave it all up and I went and learned construction of all things, worked for myself, rejoined the military, this time in the reserve capacity. But instead of going to a tech field, I let the Air Force train me into a construction field. And there were disastrous outcomes in there. I don't do construction anymore. I have a lot to say about that if anyone's considering that. I talked last night at a neighborhood meetup here. Some guy was in ministry, but he was a prior Navy SEAL. And I was like, look, dude, you're marketable. You're marketable. So if you want to talk about what to do with that military experience, I'd love that conversation. Come to me. Health, wealth, learning. I started this year off with immersion lessons in Spanish. My wife is from Honduras. We speak mainly Spanish to the youngest kids. I'm talking a lot more English to her now. That was my primary learning goal for the year. Because of the recruiting, moving from Austin, Texas, buying the home in Louisiana, getting settled in here, hitting the ground running with this business, getting them spun up, I let that one subside some. I want to pick that back up for the next year. We got a lot of space in this house for a piano. That's on my learning objective. Been a big music fan since I was a kid. I just don't. Here's the way I feel about the corporate thing, and this is the juice I tell the young guys. I don't want any more certificates. I don't want any more titles in the corporate world. I don't want. Technically, I'm a high school dropout. I joined the military when I was 17. I managed to get an online degree, an associate's degree from an online college back before online degrees were popular. And I found a way to crawl up through the corporate ranks and make 6 figures and then high 6 figures. And I did that through strength, courage, and authenticity, which is why the dating channel is so relevant to me, because when you tap into these principles, when you find strength, courage, and authenticity, it unlocks every key to your life. So my point is, in a health, wealth, and learning goal, I don't want to get another degree. I don't want to. Here's a weird example. The Air Force is still old school. The colonel there, I work pretty much directly for the commander in a command support role, which anyone who's actually Air Force will know that's not that cool. But I like what I do. It supports the deployments. And he asks me all the time, he wants me to take an officer position, which this point in my career, I'm picking up E7. I've had 18 years. Retiring as a junior officer, JO and O3E is actually pretty respectable. It looks good. I consider it, but you have to have a bachelor's degree in it. And I tell him all the time, I say, Colonel, it's just why? Why would I do it? Why? I make $200,000 a year. with an associate's degree, and nobody even cares about the associate's degree. For me, it's been experience. For me, it's been actual execution, getting actual results in the world. And for me, it's been networking with the right people and being focused on problem solving and being focused on moving real issues forward. Wow, I'm gonna get on a tangent on business. We're gonna have to come back to that another day. But that's that's what I've learned the most, closing $23 million deals versus working with companies that are constantly focused on like a $5,000 deal. There's a lot of things in your business that don't actually matter. So, and that's the principle behind Koch's 80-20. If you go read the OG way back before Tim Ferriss wrote the 4-Hour Week, which was no disrespect to Tim Ferriss, that was a great book. But the point is, a lot of stuff actually doesn't matter, and if you just let it resolve itself, it fades away. It's not there anymore. So, my wife is mixing stuff in the blender behind me. You probably can't hear it, but we're gonna let that subside anyway. What was I saying? Degrees, right? So I love the position. I love the mission. I love the challenge. There's a generational challenge in the military, which again is another tangent we're gonna have to get into another day. There's a generational challenge. How do you invest so much, really 100 to 150,000 in some of these troops? How do you invest so much in these younger troops? How do you get them trained up and then not lose them after 4 to 6 years? Well, you're losing them because of crappy leadership. You're losing them because you set a piss poor example of what the future should look like for them, and you're losing them because there's no motivational reason to stay in. It's not discipline. It's not, I'm a cusper millennial. You could tell me back in the day, toe the line, stay in because it's what you do. It's your honor. I grew up on honor, respect, and devotion to duty. Well, it just doesn't cut it anymore. So that again, we're off topic. I'm going to have to cover that in another episode. So health, wealth, learning. What would I really like to learn? I am hell-bent on this content creation learning curve. And that's inside baseball because a lot of you guys are fans of the show, and God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in to the episodes because I love talking about it. But the content creation in of itself, I think, is the most next to AI, next to how to direct AI, I think the most valuable skill set you can learn is how to create high quality content. And I'm not talking about, listen, this is elder millennial talking to all you Gen Z kids. I'm not talking about learning to create content because of aspirations of being an influencer or aspirations of being a YouTuber. What I'm talking about is like tonight, the weekly entrepreneurs group meetup that I have, there's a real estate guy in there. There's a leadership coach in there. What I'm talking about is learning this skill set so that you can present yourself to the market in the way that makes the most sense, to make yourself appealing and attractive to the market so that people find you. Your customers, your prospects rather, deserve to find you. Your customers deserve to know that you have the juice, that you're a subject matter expert. Your customers deserve to know that you're out there offering something, an irresistible offer that they want to take part of. So I'm encouraging you to really learn this skill set. And man, it's been daunting. Editing. I hire out the thumbnails now, but thumbnails, I still have to pick the caption on the thumbnails. You got to find the title. You got to play the YouTube game. This is a dating channel, for example. I cannot use gender-specific pronouns. Let that sink in. If I have a title that says, "Are they attracted to me?" it will perform well. If I have a title that says, "Is she attracted to me?" it will tank. And people have this impulse come in and say, "Oh, that's because you split the market in half." No, I'm not talking viewership is half. What I mean is literally tanked. 0 to 5 views versus 500 to 3,000 views. That's again, inside baseball, that's the level of this channel right now. It's not great. I've seen way better than others, but a normal, quote unquote, normal for me right now is about 400, and a great one is 3,000. So if I use gender specific pronouns, it's not in there. Now, this isn't a political statement or argument. My point in that is there's rules to the game. Just like dating, you have to know the rules of the game and you have to play the rules of the game, or you're not gonna get the results that you want. You're gonna suck at the game, is what I tell people. So I've mapped out the budget for this business for 2025. So clearly I have my corporate ambitions, but that's just dialed in. I do that on autopilot. I presented 5 hours straight the other day to a group of stakeholders. Like I was doing the slide deck on the fly the day before. I'm not telling you guys to go unprepared in your business. What I mean is, for me, that's 20 years of preparation. As Myron Golden would say, a prepared messenger is better than a prepared message. I'm a prepared messenger on that side. So I'm dialed in on that side. The learning, I feel good on. or the current financial goals I feel good on. But for me, the biggest educational goal on the learning side is really mastering this stuff. So, how do I create more quality content? How do I make sure that it's framed well? How do I make sure that the lighting is on point? That the aperture makes sense? That the frame rate? That these are words that were not even in my vocabulary 6 months ago. You know, Russell Brunson tells you to publish every day. I took that seriously, bro. I did it. And you can go, if you go on Instagram, you look. I left the crappy ones there because I want to look back a year from now and be like, "Eesh, that's what it came. That's what it came from." So, um, health, wealth, learning. That's it. If you got your own when you're coming on these debriefs, dump them in the comments. We'll hammer through them. Wins. The entrepreneurial group is a win for me. It's growing. It's fun. Nobody else was doing it, and this is a recurring message. I wanted something in the market. I was seeking it out. I wanted to pay people. I was looking for masterminds, and I have masterminds online, but I want to be around these people. And so to build the inner circle, to build the friend group, they weren't there. So I found a valuable skill set that I've learned over the years, and I'm not charging for it, but I will sit down with any entrepreneur and say, listen, we're going to get you some short form content. We're going to get your business the attention it deserves. Shout out to Omar for that line. So that's a win for me. When I'm on day 73, I think, of posting short form content every day. When I first started that, the podcast had to drop off. I just couldn't do the long. I couldn't learn all of that stuff, make it sustainable, figure out the ins and outs, what's working, what's not, how do you edit, how do you get it, how do you track it, how do you get it out every day. So I released the third long form, I think, or the second. I know for sure this week I'm on track to continue on the weekly Monday releases. That's a win for me. Just the comfort, the reaching that new level of saying, man, I'm comfortable with this. That's a win for me. So here's my message to you on that. If you're struggling with something and you're wondering how long it takes to get through it, find that person that was successful. That's a platitude. But know that every level that you unlock, you know more of the room that you're in. You navigate more of it. You can see the corners. It's like when you adjust to night vision. So keep pressing on, keep learning the skill set, and you find these ways of relaxation and epiphany for me at that point. Then I'm like, wow, that looks great. Wow, I'm really happy about that. Or wow, I can go on to the next challenge. Or wow, I can do more of this. Ergo, do the weekly debriefs on top of the weekly podcast. Okay, let's get some Q&A in here. This is my favorite. We'll try to get 5. This one's from a woman. I am gonna do it. I don't love the topic. Should I disclose loose skin before being intimate? Look, no, man. It's when people are physically attracted to you, they know that they're going to unwrap a certain present. I know that sounds maybe too graphic, especially because of the actual question, but what I used to tell people that had something they needed to disclose is don't go into this with a bombshell. Don't go into this with like, oh, I need to let this person down, so how do I frame it enough? How do I present this in a way that they don't reject me? You need to just understand that you are exactly who you are. And even for a guy, like when I'm talking about health, wealth, and learning, and I'm a little bit overweight, man, still rock that good posture. Open the smile, look people in the eye, talk to them. So should I disclose loose skin before getting intimate? Heck no. How would that conversation even go? What do you sit down and be like, hey, just wanted you to know here, got a little, what does that even mean? Listen, also because I'm talking to a woman, guys are thirsty. They're not going to care about this. If he's attracted to you and you got on a few dates and he's buying you drinks and dinners or whatever, just have fun with them. That would be my real advice. Find ways to smile with them. Find ways to laugh about things. Ask him questions. This is what I tell the women actually that don't know what to ask on the first date. Ask them what the man is passionate about. Most men are always on a mission. What do you think about the most every day? What are you trying to solve right now? What kind of challenges really excite you? Get that man talking. And then the physical intimacy is just a natural progression from that. All right, let's see what else. Going to the gym has not helped me get more girls. What should I do to improve my chance? Listen, also, the whole question here, you're geeking out on the gym itself. I weight train with a full 6-day split. Okay, There's a guy's channel called More Plates, More Dates, and I use that every Monday when I post my workout. I put the More Plates, More Dates MPMD. So, will having a more attractive body help get you more girls? Yes, but if you're not confident in it, if you don't feel if you don't appreciate yourself, you're not going to get these, they're not going to flock to you. It's not a magic pill, you know? So going to the gym should boost your confidence. Going to the gym should make you feel stronger. Going to the gym should make you feel like a more capable man. What will get you more women is approaching more women, talking to more women, polarizing them, asking for their numbers, and asking them out on dates. And then when you're out on dates, creating that space where you guys can meet up, have fun, and escalate. That gets you more women. So don't geek out on the gym side. Like, yeah, man, get swole, get that V taper, get them bolder shoulders, but don't come on here 6 months later like, what did you expect? That the girls are just gonna like run to your bedroom? It doesn't work that way. And this is the biggest message ever for men. The women that you want, the women that you actually want, that aren't trying to steal your appendix or trap you on some webcam link, the women that you actually want are waiting for you to approach them. They want you to create the mystery. They want you to lead them to where they want to go. So you have to approach. So what I would recommend doing, some fitness trainers, I've seen a trend in fitness trainers doing this, is set now a goal to go talk to a woman every single day. They call this cold approach. But just go up and say some benign comment. Hey, it's kind of packed in here in the gym today, isn't it? Or are you ready for the January rush? Or man, did some joke about the sweaty guy on the bench right there. You know, you don't even have to ask them out at first. Just get into the habit of approaching women and getting good at that. And then you can come through and say, going to the gym has really helped me get girls because for 6 months you focus on approaching them. Does that make sense? Try that. Let me know how it goes. Oof, these are horrible today. Dang. I've done too many of these before, so I'm probably not going to waste this debrief on more of these. Let's try this one. Talking to people in real life. Have you ever wondered about how many times you cross paths with a potentially perfect match? I mean, the moment when you feel the spark. Oh, this is spam. All right, too much junk. I don't want to waste this. Listen, that's it for the weekly debrief. I appreciate you tuning in. I want you guys to focus on your own goals. Health, wealth, and learning are buckets that I use frequently. You can use your own, but I've found that if you constantly ask yourself how this action or metric or specific goal that you're interested in is going to help you perform better in your health, wealth, and learning, then you have a very holistic year to look at and balance your goals. In fact, sometimes I bucket this out every year. I'll put health, wealth, and learning. Sometimes I'll be heavy on health or I'll be super heavy on wealth. And I'm like, man, can I actually get 5 of these done in wealth this year? No. So let's trim this down. Let's pick something in learning that's worth it. And make sure, am I focusing on my health too? Is that a jujitsu goal? Some of my goals have been pull-ups. Some of my goals have been a certain weight that I was going to squat. A lot of people put like 10,000 steps a day or whatever. But it's a good balance, it's a good mix, and it's hyper-focused. It doesn't get too really. So appreciate you guys dialing in. I'll see you in the next one.